everybody, and welcome back to the Hilltop Pillbox here in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. And today we're going to do a solo game of Axis and Allies D-Day. Had somebody mention on my last video they'd like to see a strategy video on how to win with the Axis, specifically the Germans in this game. He was saying that he has trouble with that and would like a few ideas. And I thought, I haven't played this in a little while, so I'm going to give it a whirl. And overall, this is very much a read and react game for the Germans. The Allies have all the initiative, and the Germans are having to react to it. Now, the strength of the German player is that you have tons and tons of armor and artillery, right? You got lots and lots of that, far more than the Allies have, right? The Allies just simply cannot match you in armor or artillery. So we're going to lean into those strengths a little bit, and we're going to try to do what we can to stack up the Allies. In my experience in this game, and I've probably played, I don't even know over the years, probably 50, 60 games of this, the city where it typically comes down to is Saint-Lô. This is where we find out if the Germans are going to be able to hold the game. Caen is a losing proposition in most of the games I've played. I think maybe once or twice the Germans have been able to throw in some late reinforcements. So I'm not exactly sure if that's going to happen today. Cherbourg is really a losing proposition. It's difficult. But what I'm going to try to do is stall the Allies as best as I can up in this region, but it's very difficult to get units up there. But what we're going to try to do is put armor in Rennes, or Rennes. Maybe you can tell me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'm sure it's not Rennes, but Rennes. I think I heard somebody say it that way. And we're going to try to get armor up this way because that's the best way to support Cherbourg. Only 10 turns, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's if there's nothing in your way to get these guys up there. But you still have to make the Allies dedicate a lot of stuff to come down to Saint-Lô. So if you just send stuff up to Cherbourg, well, they'll just send stuff up to Cherbourg, and their aircraft will typically wipe you out. So a lot of this game, though, does come down to the dice. Will the dice be nice, right? Will you be able to shoot down planes? Will the planes roll a lot of ones while you're trying to get in and out of zones? Because if they do, then that kind of tilts the game. But if the dice balance out over the whole game, typically we have found the Allies do win. Let me know in the comments if your experiences are a little bit different than that. So here we go. We're gonna get this going, and we will let you know how round one goes. Let's see how Omaha does this round. All right, on to round two, and kind of a hot-cold turn. So nobody had a real advantage, although the Germans did lose a few tanks this round. We'll get into that. The American Airborne actually had a fantastic round. They got, with these three guys, 3 hits. So they were able to come down here and battle this tank. Usually that tank survives unless you bomb it. But I tried to bomb it and didn't bomb it. I missed. So I thought, it might survive. But there you go. So that's kind of key, because typically you take that tank and send it up north to support Cherbourg. But that didn't happen. You can see Utah Beach was successful and Omaha Beach was not successful. That's fairly typical, although they only took a couple of hits out here. I guess 4 total, 2 in the attack and 2 in the defense. Over here, just about done with the blockhouses. They shouldn't be too difficult to take care of. No hits by anybody on the Germans there on Juno Beach. And over here, the British were able to just sweep aside the Germans. Got some reinforcements moving up the coast here in the east. Caen has been reinforced a little bit. Most of the reinforcements have gone center because there's no fighters there. And I put 3 tanks here. 1 got destroyed when it came in. Put 1 tank here, got destroyed when it came in. So the ones were pretty hot for the Allies there. No fighters were shot down because there were no anti-aircraft guns in their zones. But now we do have some anti-aircraft guns where the reinforcements are, so that might exact some sort of toll. Now, I forgot to mention it at the beginning. The goal of this game, obviously, is to take these 3 cities and hold them. And hold them means only Allied units in there, so there can be no German units. So the best way for the Germans to win is to have sufficient reinforcements around here that can go into Saint-Lô, typically Saint-Lô, and hold it, or not even hold it, but just go in there and survive. Because they have to hold these cities for a complete turn, which means at the end of round 9, no German units can be in any of the 3 cities, right? They got to be only Allied units. And if the Germans enter it on round 10, they can't survive. So if they do survive, then the Germans win. So we're gonna try that. Gonna try to get some support up to Cherbourg to draw some more off here, but you can see they had a really successful landing here. So not exactly sure if that strategy is gonna work, but we're gonna stick to it. We'll stick to it. And as they say, all good plans, or what is it? No plans ever survive contact with the enemy. So that's kind of how this is going already. But we'll see if we can keep the British busy over here. And these are, I call these my opportunity entries because here you can go support Saint-Lô or to Caen. Or you can drive a wedge up into the beach, although I think that's kind of a losing proposition. So we'll see what can be done. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, I hope. Off we go, round 2. See if they can punch through at Omaha. It's not looking good, though. All right, moving on to round 3. And, yeah, pretty standard opening so far. Got a bit of a dead pool of Americans there. There's the British and the Germans, who tend to lose a lot more in the first couple rounds. British, again, having some good success here on the eastern side of the map. So I've decided to put some more German stuff there. Now, again, I know I said I was going to do that, but gotta react. And there were 2 fighters here, 3 fighters here, and I thought, boy, putting stuff there, I'm just dying to lose stuff. So, or begging to lose stuff, I should say. So I thought I'd put it over here where there were no fighters, and I moved these guys into here. And I've got 8 units in here ready to help support Caen. So I'm hoping what this will do is draw more British pressure, or more British units here, and possibly some American units over, which means, of course, they're going to need less to take Cherbourg up here, and Saint-Lô probably won't be that big a deal. Of course, there's a lot of game to play, but that's my strategy so far. So not a lot of conflict in the second round. I wasn't looking for a fight with German units because I have a lot of infantry. And in this game, as you know, the infantry only attack at a 1 ever. If they're with artillery, it has no effect. So I wanted to try to protect them as best I could. You can see at Omaha is nothing but Germans now. And so the Americans will be landing all those guys. All right. So the British rolled a 5 for reinforcements. The Americans rolled an 8. And both the German flanks, or wings, or whatever you want to call them, rolled a 5. All right, so that's why they don't have a ton of troops. And then I moved stuff into here to join as they go across. So we'll see. Still lots of guys to come on for the Germans. The British are about I don't know, about a third of the way through their reinforcements. The Americans still have most of their stuff on the reinforcement chart because they had a poor roll. Well, the first roll, of course, you can only put on 4 units because you can only put the number of units that are in the boxes, right? They can be different units, of course, but you can only put 4. And I think on the first turn they roll a 9, and you can still only put 4 on, and they got to go into Utah. And then you have to wait for the next round to get more units on. So it's a nice mechanic to keep things from being a little too overwhelming for the Germans. All right, turn 3 coming up. See how the British do, fighting for Caen. All right, turn 3 is over, and yeah, a little bit more of the same. Not too many attacks this round. You can see that I didn't put the fighters back on the airfields yet. I think I forgot that on the first round too. But just to show you where they went, and so nothing moves when they go there, and you have 4. Same here, right? But that's good for the Germans because it means other areas are free for them to roam. So the Americans busted out here from the Utah beachhead, and they're up here, but they are outnumbered. They don't have quite the push they need, so we put some more reinforcements there. Oops, I put one too many. Should only have 4, I think. Yeah, 4 is the max. So put one there. And then Omaha will be able to land all but one of those guys, because you only have 8 per territory, as you know. American Deadpool's growing, as is the British. By a little bit, the Germans continues to soar. Had one good battle here, though, and 3 hits by the Germans on the British, and the British got no hits in response. So, yeah, that's a bit of a growing concern for the Allies. Again, I've seen this strategy tried before, and it's failed. Mainly because the Americans then only have to send like one or 2 units down here, and then they fire everything over to this way. So I guess that's what we're gonna go with right now. That'll draw a lot of American air power down here, which may allow for a late game surge up towards Cherbourg. But I think the game is pretty balanced overall. I've seen both sides win, both sides lose in numerous ways. And not exactly sure what's going to happen this game, but we'll let you know. A lot of posturing, like I say, going on. Not a lot of dice rolled this round. Next round, Germans are pretty thin here. All right, not a lot of stuff as you look overall on the map. So this will draw a lot of Allied attention. Let's see if that's a good idea, bad idea. Turn 4 coming up. Okay, headed on to turn 5 here, and the Americans are pushing further in on the Cotentin Peninsula. Head up towards Cherbourg, but again, not a lot of punch there, so waiting for some reinforcements and hoping to hit really, really hard. These tanks remained again because of a few fighters placed in their zones. And just trying to get things moving forward here. Omaha got kind of piled up a bit, but now it's free here on turn 5. I think that's a turn behind. Typically by turn 4 it's empty, so that's not good for the Allies. Over here the Germans continue to pile on the reinforcements, and as bad as this looks, remember that you can't move if you are in a zone with enemy units. So the way the Allies counter this will be to get some units into these zones and hold the Germans there. Hope the Germans don't wipe them out. Germans are down on their reinforcements now, down to 3 on the eastern side. The west has a few more. On the last turn, this turn Britain rolled a 5 or a 6, but on the last turn they rolled a 2. That's why there wasn't much coming on. So they're a little light right now, and lost all 6 infantry down here. I think they only killed 1 German unit, so that's not a good trade. They need to do better than that. But no fighters or bombers got shot down, even though I tangled with some anti-aircraft guns. They all fired blanks. Not sure how that luck's going to remain, how long the luck is going to remain, but we will see. Turn 5 coming up. We're halfway through the game. Got to get into these cities and hold them on turn 9 without any German units. We'll see. All right, turn 6, and the Germans are cut off here from their reinforcements, so this might be a problem for them. I think Cherbourg might not be long for this world. Saint-Lô has the lone infantry division keeping track and keeping watch. And the Americans are landing a bit more, and most of it's coming east because, well, this is a mess. And for those who aren't familiar with the game, typically you have, tanks attack at a 3, defend at a 3, but every Allied unit defends at a 2. So, yeah. Sometimes that You could really use a 3 when you have your tanks getting assaulted. So, but this is where we are right now. And the Germans have continued to pour reinforcements, although they are out of reinforcements in the east, and now they only have 9 more reinforcements here. The Brits rolled a 2 again. Snake eyes again. They have a little bit of punch coming, but the Americans are almost out as well here on turn 6. So what you see is what you got. Almost. This strategy looks pretty good for the Germans right now. Not really sure if it's going to work, but so far it looks pretty good. There are 4 rounds left for the Allies to take and hold the cities. And remember, everything just moves 1 space and can't move if it is engaged in combat. And remember, the bombers can't bomb anything that is in a zone that shares territory. So you can't use a bomber to come in here and try to bomb the tanks. Put the fighters in to, hurt the reinforcements coming in. But I say bombers, it's not entirely true because the American bomber was shot down trying to bomb some stuff, and there was just a lone artillery and it took it out. And one of the British fighters actually lost its way trying to stem the tide of German reinforcements. So there have been some losses in the air, but for that to happen on turn 5, pretty good for the Allies. They've not had a lot of losses in that area. Those may start to mount though, as the artillery is aplenty for the Germans. All right, round 6 coming up. The battle for Caen continues. All right, the picture is getting a little clearer as to what's going on, and we will finally have some action up here against Cherbourg. Been cut off for quite some time. And Saint-Lô is ready to be assaulted, I think, here, but some reinforcements coming in. The battle for Caen went poorly for the Germans, and the British were able to destroy everything that was in there. Unfortunately, the Germans have quite a number of units poised around. Now, these ones here will likely be held up by the last of the British reinforcements. But these can certainly come in, these can come in, these can come in, these tanks can come in. So the Allied air power is going to have to figure fairly prominently here. These Americans will probably come this way, and the rest of these will come down. The American reinforcements are empty as well. That's all there is. So, air power. Will the air power be able to balance the scales over here in Caen? Maybe throw 4 fighters into Caen and possibly chew up the Germans as they bring in the remainder of their reinforcements. So no more reinforcements for anybody. Everything is on the board. What you see is literally what you got. Will it be enough? Time will tell. Here comes turn 7. Caen is in trouble. Right, turn 8, right around the corner. Cherbourg under siege and holding out. You can see the tank is gone. It got bombed before the Americans moved in. So that's all over and done with there. Saint-Lô looks like, well, could be okay. The reinforcements trying to get into Saint-Lô got pretty ravaged by those 3 fighters. And only 1 infantry ended up surviving, trying to get in. And he got killed during the ensuing battle. Up here, the Germans had a much better time. They got 6 hits with 7 units, and then only lost 1 to the Americans, I believe. And over here, yeah, this is quite a mess. It's quite a mess. But you'll notice it's very empty around here because the 4 Allied fighters in here took a savage toll. Those white dice that I use, these are the ones from Triple Crown. I'd roll these dice and, and turn after turn after turn. Of course, it's not going to happen on camera, yeah. Turn after turn after turn. They just kept getting at least 1 hit. Like, it was unbelievable. And sometimes they got 2 out of 4 hits and took a heavy toll on German reinforcements, which is kind of what happened to the German reinforcements in the days following the landings. Up here, again, some more success for the Germans, but this is it for British units, right? These 6 British units are all that are left as far as ground units go in the game. So if the Germans can dispatch them and then block the Americans from getting over, that could be the game. So for people who are wondering how can the Germans win, well, this is one way, and even though they got absolutely savaged by the dice trying to get into Caen, they still remain. Now, there will be a battle here coming up, and so we'll have 2 twos and 2 threes versus 3 twos and 2 threes. And there are some reinforcements, although I suspect putting 4 fighters in here might be the way to go again. And these fighters here will likely line themselves up around here to add 1 more die to any tanks trying to get into Caen from this side. But it is turn 8, and the Allies need to capture and hold it by the end of next round. That could be a problem. So, we'll see how turn 8 goes. We're getting down to it, folks, and this is actually very interesting. This is one of the more interesting games I've had of this. Of course, Saint-Lô got sacrificed, but it does make these units fairly unimportant now that Saint-Lô is gone, because anything coming in here on turn 6 or 7 are going to have a tough time making it by turn 9 to any spot on as far as the city goes. So that might be one point of strategy to consider as the Allies, is when you put stuff on, if you're putting it on in turn 7 like these folks did, or they came ashore on turn 7, you don't have much to do. The tanks can move too, so that's what we're gonna have to use to try to get over to relieve Caen. Who knows? Maybe the Brits will stand tall and defeat these Germans. Time will tell. Here we go. All right, so turn 9 is done, and coming up. So this is the turn that the Allies must control the cities, and I think it's already impossible. I think it is now impossible. Caen has been completely stripped of Allied units. The Allies came down here and beat up these 5 German units, just wiped them out in 1 round. But now you have this situation. So the Allies need to take and control the 3 cities on this turn. It says you have to take them and hold them for a whole turn. So I'm not really sure why they call this a 10-round game. It's really a 9-round game, because if you don't get it by round 9, you're done. If you get it by round 9, I guess the Germans can come in on round 10, which is exactly what's going to happen here. Because the Americans can only get here on this turn with 2 tanks. Now, we can bring a bomber in and put 4 fighters in there. So the bomber could come in, target a tank, take it out. These 3 tanks could come in theory, and get 3 hits, take all of them out, and then you got 4 fighters. And then all the Germans have to do are feed in reinforcements, as many as they can get in, and if anything survives, and then survives the ensuing battle with the remaining tanks, well, then the Germans are going to have control. So what we're going to do here, a little treat for you, is we're going to show this in real time. Up in Cherbourg, of course, we're going to have those. This one isn't a done deal either, because they need to get 2 hits. And, you think they would. You got a 3, a 2, and 6 ones, but you never know. So let's start with that one, because that's probably just as crazy a thing as over here. And I've been rolling a number of blanks here. So this is what the Americans need on their turn. Okay, here we go. Okay, well, look at that. They only got 1 hit. Now the Germans on their turn will attack, and the Americans will defend, so they'll likely kill that off. But we'll see if the German AA gets any response, and they don't. So we'll just play out the Axis attack on this side. If you stay with me on this, folks, stay with me. Now we're doing the Axis attack over here. So the Axis are going to attack. Nothing. And then the Allies, of course, have 8 units at 2. Just the one. Because if they hadn't gotten that hit, then the Germans would win the game, right? So the Germans will likely still win the game. So, like I said, we're probably going to be bringing the bomber in because there's no American or British units in there. So they can come in there and bomb that. And then we'll put four planes into here. One got shot down last round, actually. So, the bomber might be better served taking out an anti-aircraft gun, but they're going to try to target one of the tanks and just help out the ground battle. So here's the bomber. Well, that's not good. So now it's mathematically impossible for the Allies to win. And yeah, here comes the anti-aircraft. So the anti-aircraft for the bombers, I know I should have done this in a different order. So here's the anti-aircraft against the bomber. Nothing there. And then we have for the fighters. Yeah, so we're shooting down a fighter. Shoot down a British fighter. There you go. Alright, so yeah, that is it. So mathematically, it's actually over. There is no mathematical way for them to get this on round. Well, you know what? There is. There is a mathematical chance, I guess, because these guys have to kill everything coming in. They would have to kill at least 2 things on their round of combat and then kill the other 2 later. So let's just see how this goes. Let's play it out. So there's the fighters. We're going to put them in there. One got shot down. And then here come the 3 American tanks in. Okay. So we got 3 American tanks coming in. Here come the Shermans. I'm going to give it a roll here. Okay, well that's a good start. All right, so that's 3 deaths. It's almost, you know what? It's almost worth it to keep. No, because this is the last round, isn't it? So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we've got 2 at 3 and 2 at 2. Shooting back. 1 hit. Okay, so 1 American tank goes. These guys go away. Okay, so that's the situation right now. Now the Germans are going to try to bring in reinforcements, and if they can get at least 2 more units in here, it's over. So we have, let's see if these dice are going to be as hot as they were before. Let's start with the infantry. He makes it. So 1 more unit and it is over. The artillery dies. I should have kept a separate pile of stuff killed by the planes. Okay, so we have 2 artillery and 3 tanks. So first artillery dies. Second artillery makes it. Okay, folks, so that's it. That's mathematically it. The first one died. And of course we could keep feeding things in, but the Americans on the German attack can only kill 2 things. So at the very best, this is what it would look like at the end of round 9, which means that they cannot hold Caen for a whole turn. Cherbourg they will on the American turn bring in that, and again you do have to have a unit in there. You can't just remain empty. And this battle has to go on. So let's do that one. Here's the German attacking. Oh, kills an American, and now we've got 4 Yankees because maybe I'll have to move more stuff in. Oh, see, they all missed. And then yeah. Actually, I forgot to do the Yankee attack. Yankee attack. Nothing there. German defense. Got a hit. So that's actually 2 Americans that are gone. All right. So, again, he just can't get in there, though. The Americans can't likely. We'll have to do that. Do that. These guys can't help out in Caen, so they would go there. But again, the German, I guess mathematically, yeah, we could go on to the next round, I guess, because this is over. So if we go on to this round, sorry it's a little muddled, folks, but hopefully you're sticking with me. So then on the next American turn, you would have the 2 attacks again versus the German counter. Okay, nothing happens. And the German attack. And the Americans counter. Okay, well, there you go. All right, he would have died on turn 9. So that's it, folks. That is the game. despite the massive casualties the Germans took on this side, they were able to play spoiler here, and the Allies just ran out of time. So hopefully that helps. Let me know in the comments what you think of that. Is that a strategy that you've ever employed? Conn tends to get not a lot of love, but the reason I do this sometimes, not very often, is because the Americans have a tougher time getting over here than they do to here. The Brits are usually getting chewed up pretty badly, and by the time they take Conn, they don't have a lot of stuff left over anyway, so they're not going to be heading way over to Saint-Lô to help out. But if the Americans can't get over, I think that spells doom for Conn. I think it spells doom. And being held up for one more turn here was huge, right? That was one more turn. If they can't get out of this zone on turn 4, that's huge. So tell me what you think, folks. I kind of enjoyed playing that one because it was a new twist on it. And yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think. And also, stay tuned. We're getting closer. It's very, very slow crawl, though. It's kind of like I hit the brakes on trying to get up to 3,000 subs. So if you know friends who haven't taken a look at the channel, hey, just pass along Hilltop Pillbox and all the other great channels. I know Sky Marshal, General Hand Grenade, G.I. Joe, of course, Young Grasshopper. He's over 4,000, I believe. But let's get more and more people playing this game and playing the series of games, historical board gaming games, and all the rest. You can see under here I've got the Meltdown 2025 ready to go for another round, and I think I'm not going to use nukes quite so early, especially with the East. They tend to really eat it when they do that. So, all right, you take care, folks. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, hug your loved ones. Thank your friends for playing. And may those dice be with you.